Okay, we are recording.
As president of the library board, we're calling this meeting to order. It's a meeting held electronically, virtually because of the COVID crisis. Ask for the call of the roll. Roland, can you call our roll?
Sorry. Don,
Here.
Susan,
Yes.
Julian.
He's here.
It looks like he's here. Phil,
I'm here.
Joyce,
Here.
Barbara,
Here.
Chastity, Roland here, Harriet.
Here.
We have a quorum. First item of business is the president's report. I'm here. Now we'll go forward to something meaningful, which is the secretary's report. Have you had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any additions or corrections to the April 14 minutes?
I move we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Oh, Joyce, okay.
Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Don,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Julian, Phil,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Chastity, Roland, yes, Harriet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Correspondence and communications.
None.
We have the financial report, bills payable were brought forward today. Any discussion or questions about them? If not, is there a motion to approve the bills?
I approve. I move that we pay the bills.
Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Joyce. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Don,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Julian, Phil,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Chastity, Roland, yes, Harriet.
Yes.
We have a financial report for April. Any questions about it?
We did receive our final replacement tax. I just wanted to let you guys know that. It was right at the end of the year. It's our last $13,000 approximately.
Oh, good.
A motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
Second,
Moved and seconded to accept the financial report. Any discussion? If not, call the roll.
Don,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Julian, Phil,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Chastity, Roland, yes, Harriet.
Yes.
That brings us to your report, Diana.
All righty, awesome. Building and maintenance. As I mentioned in my written report, we are beginning the process on the brush roof. We'll have our first meeting tomorrow, a pre-bid meeting, and then the bids will be opened the week after that, and then you'll be able to make a decision about the project at your June board meeting. Josh is doing a sort of partial renovation on our kitchen area in the staff kitchen, which is going to make it a lot cleaner and more usable. He's taking out the old stove, so we won't have to worry about crumbs falling into that anymore or anything. So that was prompted by the mini fridge going bad, and he said I can get a different size fridge if I rearrange all of this, and I said please do. So that's not a very expensive project. It's about he's about $625. I think he still needs to buy a new sink and faucet, so it might get to like $650 or something, but very affordable project. Then that's it for maintenance. We do need to vote on a method for collecting the non-resident fees, which we do each year. As I described in your board report, we have typically used the tax bill method, and we have our own formula for making that fair for renters as well. But it is up to the board to decide whether they want to use that method or a different method.
Any discussion or motion on this?
I'm happy with what we've been doing the last several years. It seems to be the most fair.
Is that a motion to approve, Barbara?
I move so.
Second,
A second? Sorry, I didn't hear. Was there a second? Seconded by Roland. Any discussion? Call our roll.
Don,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Julian, Phil,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Chastity, Roland, yes, Harriet,
Yes.
Trustee terms of office, that's just a reminder, as you saw in your board report, that 3 people have expiring terms. If those 3 people would like to be considered by the mayor to continue, then that would be fantastic. Please let the mayor know. If not, please let him know that you would like to go off the board, and he will work on replacing that position. So it's up to him. If you have anything that you wanted, if you wanted to tell me or have me communicate with him in any way, feel free to reach out to me as well. But I thank everyone here for the service that you have put in for the library for many years, each of you. The next thing that we do need to discuss is the sick leave policy. I sent out yesterday an amended agenda so that you could see the sick leave policy that I'm proposing. The reason is that we need to comply with changes in Illinois law, which discourage us from limiting how people use their sick time. If we are to impose any limit at all on family care, it cannot be more than 50% of the person's leave. But I wrote this in such a way that it would align us with our current sick leave practices, which is that we don't pry into why a employee is taking off sick. If they're taking off sick for themselves or to care for a child, we don't really have a way of keeping track of that currently. We don't in practice keep track of that. And then the other part of that is that I did add sick time for part-time employees according to the hours that they are scheduled to work each week. That's also something that's being very much encouraged these days as well, in order to encourage people to not come in sick when they are sick, so that we don't spread communicable diseases, because we've all learned how important that is. So if you want to take a look at that and see if there is anything in there that you with the proposed sick leave policy that you feel should be worded differently, or that you don't agree with, before we pass that.
Well, it's a very generous policy, it seems to me. I mean, was it inspired or instigated by COVID, by the pandemic? I mean,
That's something that we talked about. Yeah, I mean, that a lot of people have talked about that due to COVID. And so in looking at it, I realized that we also really don't keep track of people using sick time to take care of family members. And we've
Right.
certainly
You
got
can't really-
situations where that's come to the fore.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's very hard to separate that. I understand.
yeah.
I just had one picky little thing about the wording. It begins, the following proposed changes to the library sick leave policy are intended to do the following : and
Oh,
then
that's
one-
not part of the policy. That's just my
Oh,
note to
it's
you.
your introduction. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where it
So
says
then-
proposed sick leave policy, clean copy, that's the actual
That's
policy.
the actual, okay.
And then the
okay.
next page where
Mhm.
I've got crossed off and stuff like that is just to show you what the policy used to say so that you know what
Mhm.
you're changing.
I think it was good to have those changes that you showed us, and then you had the clean copy. But when I was saying, back to your introduction, so 1 starts comply with changes, etc. 2 starts to align. I would say to make it parallel. So if you start the first with comply with, then 2 would start align the sick leave policy, and 3 would be encourage all employees, unless you want to put a 2 in front of all of them. But I
Yeah,
thought,
but that's not the policy though.
not the
So you're not
policy.
approving that or anything because that's
Right.
just a note that I wrote to you guys.
Right,
It's
right,
not
okay.
something that goes down in the permanent
It's-
record.
It's not, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Gotcha, I gotcha. I
Yeah,
don't
I
have anything substantive about the policy itself. It seems good. It seems, as I said, generous and,
Thank you.
you know,
In general, have people used much sick leave?
I've not had anybody on our staff abuse sick leave. Yes, people use it, but most of us have quite a bit of sick time acquired. We don't really have a problem with that. We've definitely had people use COVID sick leave for child or COVID leave in general for childcare. So, or like to stay home sick after their shot, things like that. But, and yeah, sure, people use it. I mean, people use it every time they go to, if they have a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment during the workday, then they are encouraged to use sick leave for that. People get sick, so they do use it. Yeah.
If you're ready to vote on this, we could have a motion to approve it. And if for some reason someone thinks they need more time to study it, we could table it after that was moved. But the proper procedure would be for someone to move to adopt the changes.
I move we approve the policy as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the changes recommended by the director. As I said, if you have any questions about it or comments, we can take them now, or if someone thinks it requires more study, we can move to table it if that's the will of the board. Any discussion? If not, then call the roll.
Don,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Julian, Phil. Phil,
You're
He's
both
muted.
muted, Phil.
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Chastity, Roland, yes. Harriet,
Yes.
Motion carries. Are there any other issues you have in your report you want to discuss, Diana?
No, not really. I think that's everything. Things are going fine here with being open and having people sign in. Haven't had a whole lot of trouble or anything. It looks like the state's going to open things up further. So we might revisit at that time, but things are going fine here. So.
What kind of attendance do you have these days?
It's a lot quieter than it used to be, that's for sure. And particularly some of that is because people are just coming and going as quickly as they can. I think it's starting to pick up a little bit. We will be doing some press releases around summer reading. So I think that that might kind of encourage people to come in a little bit more. But it's been fine. If these were normal circumstances and we didn't have a pandemic going on, it would be doing a big push to bring more people into the library. But with the pandemic going on, we don't really want to do that. I mean, I think that the people who do come in here feel that it's a safe place to come. It's not super crowded or anything. So it's really been fine.
Public schools will be out in a little over a week. Do you
Mhm.
anticipate much change then?
Maybe, I mean, typically we do get more people in here when school is out. And sometimes the neighborhood kids find us and spend their day here. But, you know, probably not more than normal.
If the governor does move us to whatever he calls phase 5 or whatever, would we be in a position then to have our board meetings in person, or is there still a problem about access?
That's a good question. They right now, I don't think that they have yet. I think they've been working on changing the law so that board meetings can be held virtually without there necessarily being an emergency in place. But I don't, as far as I know, that hasn't passed just yet. So if they lifted this and that meant that the emergency order was over, that would mean that we would need to meet in person. In order for us to meet in person at the library, we will have to stop quarantining materials because we don't have the meeting room available. It's completely booked up with quarantine materials. So I imagine that we will see what the order is, and then we'll hear, I'm sure right away, how that applies to board meetings through the state library or through the library systems or through the various municipal lawyers who send notice, who invest in sending notice about these types of things. So I'm sure we'll know soon if that affects whether or not you can meet virtually.
Okay. Brings us to committee reports. Committee of the Finance Committee report.
You need to, I'm sorry, was there minutes that needed to be approved?
Yeah.
Okay. For the Finance Committee?
Mm-hmm. I think those appear in your packet right after the regular minutes.
It looked like a really long meeting.
Yeah, on and on.
Our superlative leader got us out quickly.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I was on the committee. Can I make that
Yeah.
motion?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I move we approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Second.
I think Barbara seconded. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Don,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Julian, Phil,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
Chastity, Roland, yes, Harriet.
Yes.
Any unfinished business? Hearing none. Do we have any new business that someone wishes to discuss? It always seems to me that our director does such a good job that we could just go right through these things, and I have to give Diana credit for that. That
Thank
brings
you.
us to patron behavior. Anything to report there?
Nothing to report.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Certainly is.
Roland, move to adjourn. Any second?
Second.
Roll call.
John,
Oh, I really don't think you need that.
So I will declare the meeting adjourned, and thanks everyone for your time and efforts.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Everybody.
Take
Bye.
care.
Guys.
Everybody.
It was a good one.
All right.
Bye.